Good, grade 10. So we are revising on the parabole. This is an exam question that comes from a previous test. It was in the 2020 paper. And if we look at the first question there is 3.1, determine the equation of the straight line. Now, the equation of a straight line will normally be given to you, or we need to end off with y is equals to mx plus c. All right? And in this case, this is how our answer should end off with. So what do I need here? I need my c value, because I'm not going to give my answer as y is equals to mx plus c, and I need my m value, which is my gradient. My c value is my y-intercept. And although it's not said to me, but I can see that where does the line of G intersect the y-axis? At 0. So what is the c value? The c value is 0. Alright? Now what is the coordinate there? The coordinate at that intersection is 0 and 0. Now I need to go determine my m. In this case, my gradient. How do I determine my gradient? I use my formula. My formula is y1 minus y2 over x1 over minus x2. Alright, so it's the difference of y divided by the difference in x. Or we can say the change in y divided by the change in x. Now what is the one coordinate? Let's say that is the one coordinate that I have there. And what is my other coordinate that I have that's on the line? Negative 3 and negative 1 over 2. Alright, so I'm going to substitute here negative 3 minus what? Sorry, that should be negative 1 over 2, because it's the y value. Now I'm going to use the same coordinates, x value, which is in this case negative 3 minus 0. Now I simplify here. What do I get? I get negative, that stays off, negative of, divide by negative 3. If I simplify this, that means of divided by 3. The negative cancels out, no? So then it becomes positive. So this is basically 1 over 2 divided by 3 over 1. But if I simplify here, I know that I can, if I'm doing, now this is grade 10 term 1 work, actually grade 9 work. If I'm doing division of fractions, what can I do again? I can multiply with my reciprocal. Alright, so that becomes 1 over 6. Now I have my m value, I have my c value, so therefore I can just write down my equation, which means y is equals to 1 over 6 x plus 0. But because it's plus 0 or minus 0, we're not going to indicate that. Everyone clear with that question? Alright, let's go on now to the next question. The next question asks me, determine the equation of the parabola. Parabola, now we know the parabola has a what kind of shape? Or it is given to me as this is y is equals to, the standard form is y is equals to ax plus q. But in this case, our a is, sorry, our q is what? Our q is positive 4. So we need to go determine now what is a. Alright, so we need to determine the value of a. How can we determine the value of a? We can substitute a coordinate that's known to us. Now what is a known coordinate to us? Negative 3 and negative 1/2. So we're going to substitute. We're going to say substitute, that will be negative 3 and negative 1/2 into this equation. So in the place of y, what am I writing there? Well done, Lichle. Lichle says I'm writing a half there, and then in the place of x, I'm writing -3. And I need to square that. Alright, so what are we doing? We need to solve for a. How are we going to do this? We're going to take this 4 over, so that becomes negative of minus 4. What is that going to be? Negative 5.5. Sorry, negative 4.5. No? That's 9 over 2. Is that right? It's negative 9 over 2 is equals to a. Then negative 3 squared is equals to 9. So that's 9a. Everyone understands how I got to that 9a? No? So it's that one squared, and then I multiplied with the a. What do I want to solve here? A. All right. So we need to make a the subject here. What I can do here is I can say, all right, there's a lot of ways how we can work around this. To get a on its own, I will do the following. I'm going to divide on both sides by 9. So I'm going to say divide by 9, and then, so what happens if I divide by 9 here? If I divide by on this side, I'm just going to get a. All right, so let's do this to the side. So that's negative 9 over 2 divide by 9 over 1. So if I do this, it's going to be 9 over 2, negative 9 over 2 multiplied with 1 over 9, which equals to that one, and that one cancels out. So I'm left with negative a half. Well done. All right, so my answer to A is negative a half. Are we clear with that? Great work, Dante. Thanks for your cooperation in class, always giving me the answers and so forth. All right, so now we need to write this in this equation. We're going to substitute because they ask us determine the equation of the parabola, and the equation of the parabola is given, will always be in this form. So we're going to substitute. That's going to be negative of x squared plus 4. All right, now if you go to the next question, you will actually see that they gave you in the next question, they gave you the answer of the previous one there. No, that was just because some of us sometimes you can't get, or some learners, they don't know how, and then they need this part to go to the next question. So that is actually very lenient of the examiner. Don't know who set up this paper, but that examiner was very lenient. Let's go on. Now it's a if given f of x is negative a half 2x squared plus 4, determine the roots. What is the roots? Other name for roots? Yes. It is the other name for the roots. If you have their roots, and I've never told this before, the roots is also known as the x-intercepts. No, so please indicate that or make a annotation there for you in your book if you didn't know that. Roots, aka not the artist, also known as, no, aka roots is x-intercepts. All right. Now, to determine the x-intercepts, we know how to determine any x-intercepts in any graph. We make y equals to 0. So that means this is our equation. So we're going to say 0 is equals to negative of x squared plus 4. What do I want to solve now? I want to solve for x. Right. So I'm going to take this over. It becomes positive. Positive of x squared is equals to 4. I'm going to divide on both sides by a half. If I divide here, I get x squared. If I divide 4 by a half, well then he says it's 8. Great stuff. No? So what do I do now? Am I done? No, I don't want x squared. I want x. So how do I get rid of that? I put it under the square root, and that becomes, but what I do on the left hand side, I repeat on the right hand side, so that becomes the square root of 8. But here comes the tricky part. When I do that, what do I need to remember? Plus minus. Well done, So here I go and I say x is equals to plus minus the square root of 8. So that's going to be, x can be equals to the positive, no? Or positive of square root 8, or x can be equals to the negative of square root 8. Now you will see that's going to be 2 comma, that's going to be 2 comma something, I think. Or you can leave your answer as that. So they ask you for the roots. Now roots is coordinates, and you will normally write your answer in coordinate form. So where the x is equals to square root of 8, negative square root of 8, the y will be equals to 0. And then that's actually the coordinate of A, and then the coordinate of B, we write it down as square root of 8, and the y is 0. Okay, great stuff there. Our next question is determine the range. Now the range is the y values. Basically, remember always when they ask you for the range, it is what is the minimum y value and what is the maximum y value. So we can take our ruler, when our sketch is drawn, we can take our ruler, we can go from bottom to top. Now if there's arrows indicated to me, that means it doesn't stop at that point. Alright, so if you want to write down this, you can write it in this way. You can say y is an element of, we're starting, what is the smallest y value it can be? It starts by negative infinity. And then we go up all the way until, where does it turn? What is the turning point? It turns at 4. So we're going to write there 4, and that is going to be a square bracket. Alright? Or the other way of writing this, Ronaldo, is we're going to write this as y is going to be less or equals to 4. No, that is the other way. Let's just finish up on the last question, because this question is quite important. They ask you, give the equation of the straight line parallel to G going through the point 0 and 4. Alright, so they give you a line, no? But you need, they give you, if they say lines are parallel, what do we know about parallel lines? The gradients of parallel lines are the same. Now they say the line, give the equation of the straight line parallel to G. What is the gradient of G? 1 over 6. So what is the gradient to the new line? Y is equals to m, no, mx plus c. So what is the gradient there? So I can substitute that 1 over 6x. Where is it going to go? What is the y-intercept going to be? It's going to go through, yes, 0 and 4. So it cuts, where the x is 0, what is the y? 4. And there's your 3 marks for that question. Alright? I thank you, and tomorrow we will be going on with Euclidean geometry. Those of you who haven't finished, those of you who have finished your homework, you can leave your books. Those of you who haven't finished, I will give you until tomorrow to bring both books now, book 1 and book 2.